up, family? Y'all know what it is. It's Purpose Coach Unique Mackey here, and our job today is to grow in our purpose. What is purpose? You already know what it is. It is productivity, passion, peace, and profit. If you're missing one of those ingredients, guess what? You're not living a life of purpose. Let me give you the first purpose point of our discussion today, and that is the supernatural can't be done in the natural. You heard that right. The supernatural can't be done in the natural. Exodus 2:12 says, after looking in all directions to make sure no one was watching, get this, Moses killed the Egyptian and hid his body in the sand. See, Moses was actually called to deliver the Israelites from Egypt. That's what he was meant to do through God's power. But he delivered one Israelite in his own power. Let me rewind and repeat that. Moses' destiny, Moses' calling, and even Moses' purpose from God was to deliver millions of Israelites from Egyptian bondage. But Moses, in his own power, could only deliver one. Why is that? I told you in the beginning that the supernatural cannot be done in the natural. We need God's power to accomplish God's purpose. It is not by strength, nor by might, but by my spirit, thus saith the Lord. I know as an entrepreneur, a pastor, and a person that loves their community, it's easy for me to get caught up in busyness, trying to do everything in my own strength, missing my prayer time, missing my devotion, trying to accomplish the work that I feel like I need to do. I don't know if you've ever been there. But what I've realized is that it is not my job to do the work. It is my job to do the walk. Let me rewind and repeat that. It is not my job to do the work as a Christian leader, a Christian entrepreneur. It is my job to do the walk. It is my job to seek first God's kingdom and his righteousness, and then everything else will be added unto me. If I put God first, if I make God my goal, he is giving me a guarantee that he will make sure my family has what it needs. My business has what it needs. My church has what it needs. It's not by my own strength, but by his spirit. Thus saith the Lord. Let me give you another purpose point. Here it is. As entrepreneurs, as leaders, as executives, here's what we need to do. We need to eliminate ego. We need to understand that we would never be able to do what God has purposed for us to do in our own strength. Or else, why would God be necessary? So Moses, in his flesh, tries to deliver the Israelite. And he did that. But he only could do one. When God was calling him to lead millions. And here's the problem. Here's what happens. When we're not mature enough for our purpose, God will place us in the wilderness. Moses, at this point, is a convicted felon. Moses, at this point in his journey, he is literally running from the police, i.e. Pharaoh. He is running from the justice And now he is in Midian, the wilderness, because he knows he is guilty of murder. And God orchestrated this. God allowed this. Why? Because Moses in your ego, Moses in your flesh, Moses trusting in yourself, guess what? You will never be able to do what I've called you to do. And here's the problem. When you are immature, you will never achieve your purpose. So until you're mature enough, you got to kick it in the wilderness. So Moses spends 40 years in the wilderness, because the wilderness is where God prepares you for purpose. The wilderness is the place that God prepares you for purpose. The wilderness, here's our definition for the wilderness. The wilderness is the place of preparation and transition. And Moses was in the wilderness for 40 years. The number 40 in the Bible often symbolizes testing, trials, preparation, and transition. Noah's flood lasted for 40 days and 40 nights. Moses later on was on Mount Sinai getting the 10 commandments from God, 40 days and 40 nights. And I know you remember this one. Jesus in the wilderness fasted for 40 days and 40 nights. These were seasons of purification. These were seasons of purpose. And here's what we have to understand as leaders that's very difficult on our destiny journey. Here's the difficulty as we achieve God's destiny for our life. The wilderness is whack. Yeah, I can't lie to you. I want to keep it real with you. Listen, the wilderness is whack. It's hot in the wilderness. Things aren't going as we planned in the wilderness. Sometimes you have more month than money in the wilderness. Sometimes you have big vision, low resources in the wilderness. The wilderness is whack. And because it's whack, we'll try to exit the wilderness too soon. And here's what I have learned as a leader, and I got to keep it real with you. I don't have this all together myself. I've got a problem with this even today. I'm impatient, and Unique don't like waiting. Unique won't sit down. And sometimes if I'm in the wilderness too long, I will try to work my way out of the wilderness instead of waiting on God in the wilderness. And the Bible says that we should wait on the Lord and he will renew our strength and we will mount up with wings like an eagle. But if you don't wait, if you rush it and you don't wait, the wilderness becomes even more whack because God isn't rushing purpose, because he cares more about our character and our calling than he does our comfort. And here's what I've learned. Don't miss this. Successful people know how to sit in unsuccessful seasons. Did you get that? I'm gonna rewind and repeat it. Successful people learn how to sit in unsuccessful seasons. When you're mature, you start to want God more than you want money. When you're mature, you start to care more about your marriage than you do your success. When you're mature, you start to care more about your children than you do the next promotion. When you're mature, you start to care more about what's going on the inside privately than you do what's going on the outside publicly. And so successful people learn how to sit in unsuccessful seasons. Successful people know that you win when you're in the wilderness. You don't win when you're accomplishing the awards. You're not winning when you finally get the bag. That's not the win. You won when you were able to sit in the wilderness. You won when you were able to grow your character. You won when you were faithful over the little, and then God made you ruler over much. Don't rush your way out the wilderness because it's whack. Understand, the longer you can sit in the wilderness and wait on God, the more successful you'll be in the long run. Successful people know how to sit in unsuccessful seasons. I'm going to tell you what my pastor told me. Shout out to the great Marlon Harris. He told this story. I don't know if it's original to him, but that's where I got it from. He told a story about this butterfly breaking out of the cocoon. And this butterfly was trying to get free from the cocoon. And the cocoon, as you know, is the butterfly's place of development. And somebody was watching this butterfly trying to break out of the cocoon and felt sorry for the butterfly. So they cut the cocoon open, trying to help this butterfly get free. And the butterfly eventually got out of the cocoon. But when the butterfly tried to fly, its wings were too weak. So the butterfly couldn't achieve its purpose because someone cut it out of its preparation. The butterfly was actually being prepared for the purpose inside of the cocoon. It wasn't comfortable in the cocoon. It was a struggle in the cocoon. It was frustration in the cocoon. But it wasn't benefited when it got out too soon, because the strength of the wings are gained when it's breaking out of the cocoon. So the strength it needed for its purpose was given to it during its preparation, but because the preparation was cut short, it couldn't live in purpose. Don't cut your preparation short. Don't let anybody cut you out of that cocoon. Don't take the money just to make it easier on yourself. Don't take a shortcut to make it easier on yourself. Do it the hard way, because the longer it takes you to be successful, the longer you can sit in success. Successful people can sit in unsuccessful seasons. Go make $1 in a difference, friends.